It's fishing to get people who like, oh, that's cool. And Nick, did Fred get hurt in practice, and how's he doing?
Yeah, I don't get into too much of that stuff. You saw him on the injury report, and you'll see where he is today on the injury report.
Looks like another potential weather game. How do you guys approach that during the week? Because it's had a big impact.
Yeah, just the same way. You go through your process of what you do when it's going to be windy, when it's going to be hot, when it's going to be snowy, when it's going to be rainy, when it's going to be, what you name it. We go through the process of it. That starts early in the week, and we've been doing that. And we'll have our weekly preparation things that we do, and then we'll have our game preparation things that we do as well.
If I can follow up on Dave's question, though, Fred's obviously linked back up. If both are in question, who do you have there?
Yeah, we feel good about everybody that we have. That's why they're here. So feel good about our depth that we have. Feel good about the guys that we have. You'll see the injury report a little bit later today.
Has Matt Pryor been working at tackle?
Feel really good about him. Yeah, about everything that he's done since he's been here.
How do you approach the matchup against Crosby, and especially in the light of the injury situation?
Yeah, you got to know where he is at all times. You're always going to have to know where good players are at all times and have a plan for them with different things that you do. Obviously, just like you have plans for things that you have in your notes and things that you've been through in your past for rain, snow, whatever. That's the same deal with good players. And he is a phenomenal football player. So we've thought about him quite a bit this week. And that's our job as coaches and as players to make sure that guys like that, we think about and we have a plan for.
What's unique about Max Crosby?
Shoot, you name it. I think for one thing, his motor is always running. He is relentless to the football, never stopping. I always say that to our team, there's something dangerous about a team that doesn't stop coming after you, and I feel like that's how he is, and that's how good DNs are. He can rush a passer, he can stop the run, he's physical, he's fast, he's quick, he's athletic. He's an outstanding football player.
Nearing the end of this week's practice, what have you seen from Jalen this week that gives you an indication of how to respond?
Yeah, I think the indication of Jalen, it's not just what you look at in practice, that he's resilient. He's always been resilient, one of the most resilient people I know. And he has that. It's a great quality that he has is, being able to handle adversities in the game, handle adversities from season to season, handle adversity from game to game. And he's resilient and he's consistent about how he goes about his work. That's for darn sure. Preparation, weight room, everything that he does to get ready to play each and every game, and haven't seen a change there in anything and would never expect to. He's like a machine. He's just going to keep doing it over and over again. And that's why he's played such good winning football.
With Saquon, what did you see last week and the running game overall that can be built upon, I guess, this weekend going forward?
Yeah, I think that gets a little bit into scheme, as far as that goes. Obviously, don't ever want to share anything with our opponents. But there's some things that we definitely want to build on, and there's some things that, little tweaks here and there to help with the scheme. I think, excited about the plan this week. We're going to have to go out and call it at the right times, and we're going to have to go out and execute it, when necessary, every single time.
Alan mentioned that with you being a little more vocal last week, you brought some structure to the meetings. As much as you can give us, how was that? How did that unfold, and what were some of the things that you did bring to them in terms of structure?
Yeah. How do I want to answer it? Yeah, I just think with that, you have a plan of attack of everything that you want to go through. How you watch the tape, how you correct the tape, how you plan and go about the daily process. So I know he's been with me with that and that structure. Just Kevin does things pretty similar as well, and just jumped in on a couple things, and but it was a good group effort by the entire staff, by all the players, and for this week's preparation, and hopefully we see those results in the game.
When you have a guy like AJ, who had a kind of a rough game for him against the Chargers, what do you kind of look for this week and to see how he kind of overcomes that and gets back on track?
Yeah, just, AJ is really consistent about his preparation, about how he goes about his business throughout the week. And, what sets you up for, a game, to come up and have a good game this upcoming week is about the work that you put in this week. And so seeing business as usual of how he's been going about his business and catching the football and running his routes and, walking through and being where he's supposed to be on plays. So just consistency where you are throughout the week.
Yesterday, Kevin mentioned that there are times whenever there's too much, paraphrasing because I'm trying to, he'll go to you for help. He'll ask for help on certain things in a week in terms of workflow and such. Like, how do you, from your role, act in service to that?
Yeah, obviously, we've been through a lot of, different scenarios, have different, things that we think through. If, he's asking me a question about a certain thing, I'll dip into my notes, dip into my memory, dip into our film. Hey, I think we ran that in 2018 against this team, and talk through it. And that's always a checks and balances system that we have with everybody.
Couple more. What's your the reaction to Phil Rivers coming back?
I'm sorry.
Your reaction to Phil Rivers coming back?
Yeah, be excited to watch him play if that's the way they go this week. I have no idea, but I have a good relationship with him and wish him the best, and always wish Shane the best. Always rooting for them, and it's exciting.
Heard you say a bunch of times that you won't coach a player with a drop and just say catch the football. You want to have specific coaching behind it. What's the origin of that for you?
Yeah, I think that's with anything. It's like, of course, I don't want to fumble the ball. Of course, I don't want to. I think it was probably me as a wide receiver is like, hey, catch it. Well, no, and like, I know I want to catch it, but what can you do to help me do that better? And sometimes the answer is just chuck the ball at me as hard as you can 100 times. Right. But sometimes it's my hands were turned the wrong way. And sometimes it's I didn't catch the ball at my eye level. And sometimes it's the basic fundamentals of why and sometimes you just need reminders of that. Like, hey, and it's no different than if you would slip in it at the top of a route. Like, hey, don't slip. Well, I got it. Like, that's not part of the plan. But it's the specific detail of what you're trying to coach and what you're trying to do. And for whatever reason, drops to me fit into that more than like the guy that's catching the receiver that's catching the football wants to catch the football way more even than I want him to catch it. And I want him to catch it really bad, even more than any fan wants him to catch it or any media member or you name it or what fantasy whatever whatever it is. Like that guy wants to catch the ball more than anything. So it's not and sometimes I think with drops you can get mental with it and it's like, hey, make that putt. All right, and try. And so you don't want to ever get that into that moment where you make it a mental thing. You just want to correct it. And so that's kind of the origin. I think that's probably my origin of me playing wide receiver and, kind of how I went about it and how I felt. Sometimes your experiences that you have dictate some of the things that you do.
All right. Thanks, folks.